Good day, folks. Welcome to the MB Wildman channel. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to make probably the best buck jam product that I make. I use molasses. I do a molasses buck jam, and if you haven't checked out that video, go ahead. It's a great one. And I do an apple flavored buck jam, which works really, really well. And again, if you haven't checked that video out, it's on the channel. Go ahead and check that out. That's a great one. If you haven't yet subscribed to the MB Wildman channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that bell so that you get notified when we upload new content. Wouldn't want to miss any videos. As always, we're looking for questions, comments, feedback, your experiences with this stuff or your own recipes, whatever you got, and you feel free to share. Just drop those down in the comments below, and we'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can on those. So this product is, I call it a wild berry flavored buck jam, and I make it a little thicker than the others. I only make a 2-liter portion at a time because I want it to be really thick. I use this on stumps. I use this on rotten logs. I do pour it on the ground some, but depending on your area, you may want to avoid pouring this stuff right on the ground, simply because rumor has it that deer eating off the ground sometimes isn't always as healthy for them, but off of a stump or off of dead logs or whatever, I guess it's okay. So anyway, here we go. This one's real simple to do, and you can do it for a couple, $3 tops. But again, I only make a 2-liter portion. Now, if you're okay with it being a little thinner, and depending on where you're going to use it, you can go ahead and just cut all of what I'm going to tell you in half, and you can make 4 liters, right? So you can do 2 2-liter jugs or like 1 4-liter jug like I did with the molasses flavor. Okay, so first thing we'll do, I always try to do my dry ingredients first, and I just take a regular 2-liter pop bottle, and I'm going to start off with the dry ingredients that we need to make this. So I always start, if I can make this work here, stand up. I always start with this product, which is Arm & Hammer washing soda. Now, it's not baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. This is sodium carbonate. So this is a laundry booster from Arm & Hammer, and I use about a cup of this. Okay, so there's my cup of the Arm & Hammer laundry soda. Make sure if you're going to buy this, if there are different kinds of Arm & Hammer stuff where you shop or depending on where you get this, just as long as this is sodium carbonate, I guess you can buy it bulk at feed stores. I don't know. I've never tried that, but so after the Arm & Hammer, what we're going to do is we're going to put in roughly a cup of salt. Now, I like to use the hunting salt that I buy at Canadian Tire. It's this material here. I like it just because this is it's infused with kind of an apple flavor, which really helps out with this. It's not expensive, and one bag does me for all kinds of different recipes and different things that I'm doing. So basically about a cup again of the salt, and it doesn't matter. Like I say, you can use road salt. You can use whatever kind of salt that you want. Table salt would be great, just depends on what your cost is and how you want to do it. Okay, so we're going to put the 1 cup of salt down into the bottle as well. Okay, there we go, and there's our cup of salt in there. Next, for the dry ingredients, 2 packs of Jell-O, and I like to use the berry blue Jell-O simply because it's raspberry and blackberry flavor. I use cherry Jell-O and lime Jell-O in some other products that I make, but this is by far my favorite for this wild berry mix that I do. And I'm not sure why, but this seems to work. I mean, this works as good as or better than both the apple and the molasses as far as bringing game in, especially white-tailed deer. So go ahead and give it a try if you got a deer spot and you're looking to change it up or you're looking to create a deer spot. Okay, so 2 packages of wild berry Jell-O. And again, it's not super expensive, and you don't have to buy the actual Jell-O brand. If you got a no-name brand that's kind of a fruit flavor, that's fine too. I'm just telling you what works for me and what I've had the best success with. So there we go. There's 2 packs of the Jell-O. So that's pretty much it for your dry ingredients. And as you can see, we got quite a bit of stuff in the bottle now, and we're going to have to soak that all up and get it syrupy before this is going to do its job. Move on to some wet ingredients. Next thing to do, and don't forget this step. This is kind of the key to it. You want a can of fruit juice from concentrate. Now I like the Fruitopia stuff. This one's called Fruit Integration. It has just a lot of different fruits, pineapples, apples, mangoes. There's all kinds of different flavors to it. This is my favorite one to use. And it needs to be from concentrate. So just putting in juice may work-ish, but I've always found that if you want this to do what it's designed to do and to stay thick and to give really flavorful, use your juice from concentrate and add that right into your bottle. Okay, so you got your juice from concentrate, bottle of water, roughly 500 mils or whatever, half a liter of water added to your mix. And if we're doing this right, hopefully we are, if we're doing this right, we should end up with basically half of our 2-liter bottle filled up. Okay, so your liquid and your dry ingredients should make up about half. At this point, you're going to have to shake it up real well, and you want to mix all that ingredients together, and you want to give it a chance to dilute as much of it into that water as you can. Okay. If you want to speed this process up, if you're in a real big hurry, you can heat your water up, and it'll absorb a little faster. That material will absorb into the water a little faster, but it's not necessary. So just shake this up until you got almost all of that material, the salt and the Arm & Hammer and the Jello and all of that. So you got it all pretty much absorbed into that water. All right, there we go. That's pretty much good. Still a few little chunks of salt and stuff in there, not done, but it'll dissolve over time. If you haven't tried this stuff out, or any type of the molasses one I do or the apple one that I do, you really should try that. Here's a couple deer right here at a spot where I've been using this. Now this spot here, I've probably been using this. This will be the 2nd or 3rd year at this spot that I've had this stuff out. I put it out in conjunction with a trophy rock, and I usually use some of my homemade deer cane early on in the season. But it never fails when I put this stuff out. I get new animals show up, or I get the animals that have been there showing up a little more often. Right? They really love the smell of this. They really love the flavor. Go ahead and give it a smell. Oh, it's awesome. Don't drink it, but it makes you want to. Right? It's really, really, really strong as far as flavor goes. And that scent will go out there for a long ways. It'll bring stuff in. And again, as far as bears go, if you got bears in your area, then they'll come by because of the scent of this stuff, but there's no food there, right? There's nothing for them to actually eat. So they may wander by and they may paw around a little bit, but then they're going to carry on their way. It isn't until you actually give a bear food to eat that they'll start, coming around your spot and staying at your spot. Anyway, the last ingredients we're going to use here is we're going to use 1 liter of high fructose corn syrup. Okay. Now, there's a couple of different high fructose syrups that you can get. There's one that's made with wheat, and then there's this one that's made with corn. The one that's made with wheat is used a little more often, like in candies. It's clear liquid. I don't buy it because it's twice as much money almost as the corn syrup. So I just like to stick with what's easy and what's cheap. And since it works just as good, might as well go with the cheaper stuff, right? So I put the whole 1 liter of corn syrup into the bottle with everything else that I've got. Okay, so there we go. There's our liter of high fructose corn syrup. Pretty much all in there now. You're going to want to leave a little space in the top of the bottle, even if you don't take the whole liter of the corn syrup. You're going to want to leave, a couple 3 inches here, because we're going to have to shake this in a little bit to mix this around, and you don't want to fill it right to the cover, because then you won't be able to mix it around. So once this is done, pretty much all in there, all you're going to do now is snap the lid back on, and you're going to give this a real good shake. And you're gonna mix your ingredients all in here. And that corn syrup is gonna take this mixture and it's gonna thicken it. And it's gonna make it so that it's just a nice, well, jam, I guess, kind of just like the buck jam that you buy in the store, right? But way less expensive and way easier to make. Let's see if I can show this to you. I mean, this is great stuff now. I mean, it's a little bit thinner than the buck jam stuff, but again, once I'm done shaking this up, once I'm done with the full shake here and get it all done, I'm gonna add, there was still about an inch or two left in the bottom of this, so I'll put that in at the end and then give it another good shake. But I wanted to make sure I could shake it up really well, so I left a space in the top. But anyway, that's it. That's all you got to do. Take this stuff out, pour it on a stump, pour it on the ground, pour it on some rotten logs, whatever, and the deer will be by, and they love it. You can go ahead and smell it, and it is great. Yeah, it'll be irresistible to your deer herd. So anyway, I hope this helps you out, and I hope you got a deer spot where you can take this out and have some success with it. And until next time, happy hunting from the NB Wildman channel.